Hey guys, and welcome back. As you can see from the title, you already know what this video is. I've really had my eye on these uneven hem patchwork denim skirts, but I have not really liked the price tag, so I figured I could try to recreate the look myself. If you like these kinds of videos, don't forget to subscribe. So what I started out with was a skirt that I thrifted, and I got this skirt for $3.25, guys. Yes, that's right, $3.25. What you're going to do first is you're going to cut off that very bottom hem. What I like to do is go a little bit uneven as the base and kind of like mark as short as I want the skirt to go. That way I can be sure not to cut too high. But you know, after you cut off the bottom hem, you can go back in and kind of customize the bottom shape to be exactly what you want it to be. When attempting something like this, it's always a really good idea to try to see if you can go to the thrift store to find what you want, because that way if you mess it up, you're not really that mad. You didn't spend that much money on it. So I always recommend trying to find items to practice on at a thrift store first, and then if you feel like you want to get something that is a little bit better quality or something very particular, then you can always go back later and buy that. For this look, just like the inspiration picture, I wanted to go for more of a U-shape uneven hem. I did make one side a little bit higher at first, but after I started distressing and kind of seeing what it looked like, I did go back in and make both sides higher and adjust it to my liking, which, you know, you can do with something like this. It's not so precise that you can't go back later and change it up a little bit, which is why I really like these types of projects. So after I finish cutting off the hem all the way around the skirt, I have now established my baseline, and from this point, that's when I'm going to start to customize exactly the shape that I want this skirt to be. It's very important that you do try the skirt on before you start doing all of your cutting, because you want to kind of make marks on the skirt to let you know how high you want certain areas to be and exactly where you want the distressing to be, because you don't want to accidentally flash somebody through an improperly placed hole. I'm just saying. So you definitely want to mark your skirt so you know exactly where you are putting your distressed holes. So as you can see, I have one side that goes up a little bit higher than the other, but like I said, I did go back and eventually fix that. But I'm going to show you guys up close how I'm going to shred the bottom hemline so that you have those frays at the end that you see in a lot of popular distressed denim. So denim typically has a type of weave pattern to it. You're going to see some threads that go across, some threads that go straight up and down. In this case, the white ones are the one that go across, the blue ones are the one that go down, and that blue thread that is hanging down, that's what's going to end up being your frays at the end. As you can see, I'm starting to form that. It's small right now, but as we keep pulling at the white strings, it's actually going to get longer and longer and longer. Just so you can see more closely the threads that I'm pulling at, you're going to want to take your time with this. It is tedious work. It does take a lot of time. It's time consuming, but in order to do it right, this is what you have to do. After you've been at it for a while, your skirt should look a little something like this. And at this point, we haven't even washed it yet, so you can imagine how good it's actually going to look once you wash it. But once you get to this point, just to make things a little bit easier and to go a little bit faster, you're going to take the pointed part of your tweezers and like dig into the fabric and just scrape down. And that's going to create longer frays like what you see right here. I've gone ahead and I've gone around the entire skirt at this point. I've done all the hems. I've placed some holes in strategic places that I want them to be. And now I'm going to move on to the back. I've cut kind of a dip in one pocket and a hole, or not a hole, a slice across the other. I'm going to go ahead and distress these. Throw it in the washer because you want to wash your skirt before you add the patches. Very important. Wash your skirt or your denim first. After you wash it, then that's when you're going to add the patches. I have not washed the skirt at this point, but what I am going to do is place my patch because I want to kind of arrange it and have a game plan as to where I'm going to put my patches so that once I take it out the washer, everything is smooth sailing from there. This is the finished product once I've taken it out of the washer and the dryer, and I must say I really loved the way that this came out. But now it's time for the fun part. We're going to put the patch on. So because we've already game planned exactly where and how our patch will be placed, this part is going to go pretty smoothly. Some patches you can't really iron on top of them. You kind of have to flip over the fabric and iron from the other side. But for this particular one, I did iron from the top first. And then later on, I went ahead and flipped the skirt over and then ironed to secure it more from the inside. Because this patch was a little bit more intricate and had a lot of different edges, I did flip back and forth quite a bit just to make sure all the edges were secured. And then once I was satisfied with how secure it was, I did have more patches, so I was like, you know what? More is more. So I added some more. This is the same type of patch where you can iron on top and then flip it over and iron from the inside. However, I will say that depending on the material on top, if you leave the iron on too long, you will actually melt the threading and the design on top. So you have to be careful and really kind of know what type of patch you're dealing with. But this is what it looks like. I did add the second one because at first I was only going to do one, but I just really liked the symmetry and the look of adding the second one. So I'm going to go ahead and secure that one as well. And just like I did with the others, I did flip back and forth and go along the edges just to make sure that everything was secured properly. And this was the final look of this skirt. I promise you guys, I've seen these skirts online for like $100 and I literally made these with the patches for about $15. So I will definitely include links to where I got all of my patches down in the description box below. Moving on, I decided that I had an old denim jacket I wanted to revamp, and these are some of the other patches that I got. I really loved the look of these. They were very unique and different to me. I've never really seen anything like it. And then of course I have more of the patches that I used on my skirt. So now we're going to move on to the denim jacket. I do have a more in-depth how to distress a denim jacket video that I will link below, but once you're done there, you're going to take your patches and place them where you want them to go. I did give this one kind of a Western vibe with my patch placement, but as you can see from this patch, it's very much beaded and not the type that you could just run an iron on top. So this middle section that you see me ironing is actually part of the glue. What I did is I ironed that down to get it to stick a little bit, and then I carefully held it and flipped it over so that I can finish ironing it onto the jacket from the inside, because like I said, this is one of those patches that you have to secure from the inside. You cannot just iron it from the top. When I finished up this jacket, I was so extremely happy with it. I've never really seen anything like it. It's definitely unique and different for me. I did have patches left over, which I am strongly considering doing a blazer. I think a blazer would be really cool. So if I decide to do it, you guys will definitely catch a picture of that on Instagram. If you decide to recreate any of these looks, please tag me. I'd love to see what you came up with. All my socials and links to everything are down in the description box below. But that is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching.